The fifth principle, rhythm. In the dance of the universe, everything follows a rhythm. Everything oscillates. Everything pulses in perfect cycles. This is the fifth Hermetic principle, the law of rhythm, and it invites you to watch the movement of the tides, the turning of the seasons, and the rise and fall of your own life. To understand this law is to find harmony inside chaos and balance inside change. Everything in the universe moves in cycles. There is always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This holds across every scale: the birth and death of worlds, the rise and fall of nations, the life of all things, and the ever-shifting states of the human mind. Everything flows in and out in a pendulum motion that governs existence. Like the waves of the sea, there is a moment of advance and a moment of retreat. What rises will fall. What is born will one day dissolve. Just as there was an outpouring at the beginning of everything, so at some point the universe will stop expanding and begin the return journey, a great compensation, until everything comes back to how it began. This is the breath of God. The same law governs your life. Notice how your days swing between light and darkness, your emotions between joy and sorrow, your hours between action and rest. To understand rhythm is to accept that nothing is permanent, not joy, not pain. Everything is in motion, everything is temporary, and just as the pendulum swings, the universe is always seeking balance through its oscillations. This is the secret of universal harmony. On the great stage of the cosmos, rhythm is the invisible conductor. Galaxies turn in spirals. Stars are born in stellar nurseries and die in vast explosions. Returning to the dust of space, nothing stands still. Look at the sky. The sun rises and sets in a perfect cycle that sustains all life. The moon moves through its phases, pulling the tides, touching cycles of fertility, even brushing your emotions. The universe breathes. It expands and contracts as though the whole cosmos were alive. On Earth, the same pattern repeats. Spring brings life, summer ripens it, autumn harvests, winter rests. The eternal wheel of renewal, and rhythm is not only outside you, it is within. Your blood flows in a constant stream. Your heart beats in its own cadence. Your breath follows the rhythm of life. The tides advance and retreat in a choreography dictated by the moon, and your thoughts and emotions rise and fall the same way. Nothing escapes the pendulum. Look closely, and you'll see that what appears to be chaos is simply a rhythm you haven't yet understood. Behind every apparent disorder lies a precise dance, an oscillation that keeps the whole in balance. When you align yourself with these natural cycles, you live in harmony with the universe. And just as the sun always rises after the darkest night, you can trust that after every fall comes a rebirth. Rhythm governs your whole life quietly. From birth, you begin to dance with the cycles of existence. Childhood full of energy and discovery, youth driven by passion and ambition, maturity bringing responsibility and reflection, old age teaching the wisdom of rest. Everything has its season, and each phase has its purpose, but it lives in the small scale too. Some days you wake full of energy, ready to conquer the world. Others you feel tired, withdrawn, in need of silence. This swing between high and low is natural, the pendulum moving within you. Even your emotions obey it. Moments of joy when the world seems to shine, followed by periods of sadness or restlessness. Resisting this is futile. Trying to hold a permanent state of happiness, of stability, is like trying to stop a river with your hands. The secret is to observe without attachment. When you're in a moment of ascent, enjoy it, but know it will end. When you're in a hard season, remember the tide always turns, and the light always returns. As Rumi said, this too shall pass. This is the pendulum of life, swinging from one extreme to the other, but always returning to balance. Rhythm is not a punishment or a trap. It is a reminder that everything you experience is part of a greater dance. Understand that, and you stop fighting the tides and begin to move with them. That is the path to harmony. Think of your emotions as an invisible pendulum, endlessly swinging between extremes. In one moment, joy and lightness. In the next, sadness or fear. Most of us resist this. When we're happy, we try to freeze the moment, clinging as though we could hold it forever. But the pendulum must swing. It is driven by the very force of the universe. And the harder you cling to the positive side, the more violently it swings back to the opposite. The greater the enthusiasm, the greater the potential for melancholy. And when we're in a negative state, we fight to escape it, when in truth, the pendulum returns to center on its own. The challenging emotion will pass. Resisting it is like trying to hold back the sea. The masters of every age taught the same thing. Neutrality is the key. Hermes wrote that the master is not a slave to the pendulum. He observes its motion, but is not carried away by it. To live this wisdom is to learn to rest at the point of balance, the center of the swing. That is where peace lives. When a strong emotion arrives, good or bad, pause. Observe it as a spectator. Ask, why am I feeling this? Where's the pendulum moving? That simple act of observation breaks the cycle of automatic reaction and brings clarity. Treat your emotions like the weather. One day sun, the next rain. You don't control the weather, but you decide how you respond. Rhythm teaches you not to identify with the extremes. You are not the storm nor the shining sun. You are the sky that watches the weather change. There is a deeper turn of this law, and the tradition calls it compensation. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Movement in one direction always finds its answer in the other. The pendulum of a clock swings one way and returns with equal force. The tides that rise with the full moon retreat with the waning one. This applies beyond the physical, into the emotional and mental. The one who can feel the most subtle pleasures is also open to equally subtle sufferings. The one who feels pain intensely also holds a deeper capacity for joy. There is a law governing the degree of joy and suffering each being can hold, and compensation is the scale that keeps it balanced. This reframes suffering entirely. Suffering is not a curse laid upon you. It is a movement of the pendulum that will inevitably be followed by its compensation, a return of joy. Pain, like pleasure, is transient, and its balancing swing will come, restoring the harmony that was lost. It works the other way too. The pleasure you feel now may itself be the compensatory return for suffering you've already passed through. Nothing is given without something being balanced. The wealthy may hold material abundance the poor lack, yet be deprived of the simplicity and peace the poor may find. The millionaire surrounded by luxury may lack the health or appetite to enjoy it, while the laborer takes deep pleasure in a humble meal. The scale is always working, always restoring balance. Rhythm cannot be stopped, but it can be understood and, with practice, mastered. When you realize life is made of cycles, you can prepare for its oscillations instead of being swept away by them. Wisdom is learning to surf the waves rather than fight them. First, observe the cycle. Most people live blind to the patterns in their own lives, but the rhythm leaves clear signs. Your emotions, your energy, even external events follow a pattern. After days of intense output, fatigue arrives. That's not weakness. It's your rhythm seeking balance. Second, anticipate the movement. If you know expansion is followed by contraction, you can prepare. In joy, stay grounded, knowing it may pass. In difficulty, remind yourself it is temporary. When the pendulum swings too hard, use conscious breathing to steady yourself. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale slowly for 8. Set aside a few minutes each day for silence, where you connect to the rhythm of the universe without becoming its slave. And above all, practice acceptance. Not resignation, but flowing with wisdom. When the pendulum swings, it is not out of control. It is obeying the laws that hold the all in balance. The rhythm never stops. What matters is how you choose to dance. Learn to hear your own inner cycles, the tides of your soul, and harmonize with the universal flow. To master the law of rhythm is to find true freedom.